What is good, everybody? Man, it's your boy Jay in the building. We is back again with another video. Alright, man, so it has been somewhat of an eventful week for HBCU football so far. We have the HBCU Combine on Monday. Had some guys get drafted into the USFL, I think yesterday or a few days ago. And we have the HBCU Legacy Bowl this weekend. And before we get into these two guys that I am about to talk about, I do want to give a shout out to the guys who did get drafted into the USFL. So I am gonna name all these names. Got Mark Evans from Pine Bluff. Got Kenan Isaac from Alabama State. Got Isaiah Baldwin from Jackson State. Got Andrew Farmer from Lane College, and I am going to speak about him at another time. J.J. Holloway from Tennessee State. Jahn Warren, in which we are going to speak about him in a little bit. We got Derek Tucker from Texas Southern. Then we got Jermaine McDaniel from North Carolina A&T. We have Ray Estes from Grambling State. Got Dre Terry from Alabama A&M. And, of course, last but not least, we have Isaiah Land from FAMU. Shout out to all of those guys, man, who got drafted. I think it was like a 3-day thing, man. And just shout out to all of them guys, man. So, the two guys that stood out in the Combine was Xaiver Smith from FAMU and Jahn Warren from Jackson State. And I want to first get into Jahn Warren. Because my, oh my, he had a journey, dog. Now, him being the number one JUCO player in 2020, he was on his way. And, hold on, before we get to that, if y'all saw his highlights, if y'all didn't see his highlights from JUCO, I advise y'all to watch it. Because I reacted to it, and, dog, that dude at JUCO, he was something else, man. I can see why he was the number one player. But, all right, so he's coming from JUCO. And he was dead set and on his way to Georgia before Coach Prime got involved with Jackson State. And, of course, he ended up going to Jackson State. Honestly, I think his best year came from his first year at Jackson State. I think he had, 17 total tackles. They were all solo tackles. Mind you, this dude is physical when it comes to tackling and getting and jamming. Like, this dude is really physical. His best year came in 2020, which was the COVID season, which was the spring season, I believe. They only played 6 games. But I think he had 17 tackles, an interception, and I think like 2 pass deflections, right? So, and you know what's like really interesting about Nuggets' career at Jackson State? He played like 26. He played 26 games. He only started 6 games. His entire career, I think that's what I saw at Jackson State. He started less than 10 games. I don't care what the number is. He didn't start enough games at Jackson State. And even when I thought, or when Travis Hunter came on the scene, the dream scenario was supposed to be Travis Hunter on one side and Jahn Warren on the other side. 2 of the top corners, matter of fact, 2 of the best corners in the FCS playing together, and for some inexplicable reason, it didn't happen that way. You know, I think he was fed a wrong deal at Jackson State. He didn't play enough games. He didn't have enough time at Jackson State. But for him to get the opportunity that, you know, to showcase his skills at the Combine, for him to run, I think his time at the Combine, I think he ran a 4.36 his first time. and then the second time he ran a 4.48, which that point 12 seconds is not a big deal. It's not a big deal, I don't think. But if you're a cornerback or a wide receiver and you run underneath, like under a 4.5, you are gonna always get a look. No matter at what level, you are gonna always get a look. So I do want to say shout out to him for running the time that he did, and I think from what he said, I think at the skills in the skill drills, he did a really good job with with the drills as well. So there are Legacy Bowl, for anybody that's there at the Legacy Bowl, if you guys have videos of one-on-ones with the DBs and receivers, I want to see those. I really, really want to see those. Now, he doesn't have whopping stats for his career. I think his career, he had 51 tackles with 2 tackles for loss, an interception, and 4 pass deflections. So his career numbers at Jackson State is not going to wow you. But when you play a lot of man coverage, the majority of the time, you're not going to get a lot of interceptions playing man coverage. A lot of your man coverage is going to come from disguising, playing zone. You're going to get a lot of your interceptions that way. So I didn't really expect him to get a lot of interceptions or whatever, right? But I do hate, honestly, I hate it when, look, now, the DBs at Jackson State, they were good enough to do it. But for you to play man coverage 85 to 90% of the time is dangerous. Because not only do you have to rely on the pass rush to get there, especially if you're playing zero coverage, which means the corner is out there on the island, and the weakness of a cover zero is throwing it deep. So imagine playing cover 1, cover 0 as a cornerback 85 to 90% of the time. That's one of the hardest positions to play in football outside of quarterback. That is a tough position to play. And I also think that it really escapes criticism from the coaches, because I think that gives them a scapegoat when you play a lot of cover 0, but you also have the DBs to do it. When you get beat, you're going to always blame it on the cornerback, and it's never going to be on the coach. So I just don't like teams who play a lot of cover 0, me personally. But if anybody could have done it, it's definitely Jahn Warren. So he's very well deserving of the opportunity that he has come his way. And I really can't wait to see him on Saturday. Now let me get to Xaiver Smith. And Xaiver Smith, man, he's had one hell of a career at FAMU. Just to run down his numbers at FAMU. For his career, he had 280 catches with 3,620 yards and a little over 30 touchdowns. Now, through his last 3 years, he had 24 touchdowns, but I really couldn't find any of his touchdowns from his freshman year. So I was gonna assume that he got 30. Now, he's a 2-time All-MEAC performer, first team All-Conference in the SWAC, 2-time AFCA All-American, 2-time Box Tour All-American, and dog. His career at FAMU, it should not be forgotten. I think it was a year, his sophomore year, he had her breaking out sophomore year. I think he had, about 70 catches for over 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns. And at that point, that's when a lot of people have laid their eyes on Xaiver Smith since his sophomore year. Now, his junior year, he dealt with some issues with some injuries or whatever, but he still had over several hundred yards receiving. But he had a really, really good season last year, and his combine. He performed so well at the combine. Steve Smith, the legendary Carolina Panther, Steve Smith came out on Twitter and said, I'm going to do a scouting report on Xaiver Smith because that boy's fast. Boy went a 4.38 and a 4.39 unofficially. And I always knew that he had it in him. Like, the film don't lie. Like, you can see his speed on display every time he has the ball in his hands. So, and for a dude to not have no scholarship offers, came to FAMU as a walk-on, to have the career that he's had. And, he played with 3 different quarterbacks. He's played with 3 different quarterbacks. So, I think that's going to let you know right there that it don't matter what quarterback is throwing him the ball, he's going to produce. And it don't matter. And I honestly had him number 3 behind Jadakiss Bonds and Shaq Davis when it came to receivers coming out of HBCU. But now, I still believe that I think Shaq Davis might be the best receiver when it comes to HBCU receivers, because I think he could run the entire route tree. And plus his catch radius is super high. But with Xaiver Smith, this dude could be a Tyreek Hill type player. I'm not saying he runs as fast as him, but in terms of his skill set, in terms of what he can do at the receiver position, with running jet sweeps and, just catching, drag routes and, and just short-term yardage, he can do that. He has great hands as well. So this dude is him and Jahn Warren. I can't wait to see. Matter of fact, one-on-one videos, I need to see those dudes go at it. Matter of fact, I don't think I ever really saw them when they played against each other these last 2 years. I don't really think they went up against each other when it came to one-on-ones. So in practice, I gotta see that. I really hope they're going up against each other every rep, honestly. But I do believe, with this weekend, Jahn Warren and Xaiver Smith, I'm so proud of those guys, man. Cause now the NFL is on notice. And with 30 teams being out there for scouting, man, I just love it. Shout out to all of the guys who are participating in the Legacy Bowl. I will be watching. I don't know if I'm gonna do a watch party or not. I want to, but damn, those 2 guys, man. Those 2 guys had a really, really different journey, but down the same path, damn near. So just shout out to those 2 guys, man. And we all will be watching them two go at it, hopefully.